morning. You are joining me today at the sewing machine for the first time in forever. I am not sure if I am live right now. I don't know where my phone is to check. I think we're live. I think we're good. So yeah, today is all about a flat felled seam. This is the first time I have been at my sewing machine for quite a while actually. If I'm completely honest with you, I don't think I've sewn anything for the best part of 3 weeks. I've been so crazy with client work, which surprisingly a lot of it is digital as a fashion designer and everything. So it's the first time I've been reunited with my little sewing machine here. We are going to go through flat felled seams. Now, these are one of, if not the strongest seams that you can do. They are reinforced. You will find them on the inseam of good quality jeans. You will find them on the side seams of shirts, the armholes of shirts. And I'm going to be using a denim example today because with denim you can hand roll it at the machine. Obviously going back and forth between the iron was a bit tricky for camera angles, but whenever I roll over, I'll tell you anyway, as I'm doing it, I'll tell you where you press and everything. The clutch point on my sewing machine seems to be extremely temperamental today, so excuse me if it's flying off the handle. But we're just going to get into it, okay? So as always, this is really useful to put into your fashion file pack. Your fashion file, sorry. There is a fashion file pack dedicated to seams. It's the first fashion file pack I ever released. So go and check that out and you will find a flat fell seam construction technique in there. So you compare it with this video, have a load of illustrations to help you along, and hopefully combine that all together. It will be nice and clear. How is everybody doing today? I am buzzing right now because I've just called my friend in Australia who I haven't spoken to for a long old time, and you know when someone that you care about is just really happy? He's just made me really happy. I've got the biggest grin on my face. Just from speaking to him. So I'm in a really good mood today. You guys let me know how you're all feeling. Elaine, Dorothy, I can see that you've been waiting for this one. Thank you so much for joining me. I will just jump right on in. So when you're doing a flat fell seam, you want to have everything wrong sides together, okay? I will show you what it looks from one side versus the other side. As a designer, you can essentially make that decision yourself. You might prefer how it looks on the wrong side and have that as your right side, if that makes sense. Those are the kind of creative decisions that we have the freedom to make. So if we are starting with our flat felled seam, we do traditionally want this wrong sides together. Your seam allowance wants to be at least 1.5 centimeters, if not more. And then you kind of just want to go from there. Now my bobbin luckily I tested this before coming on live and my bobbin had run out, so we're just going to do a straight line of stitching, 1.5 centimeters, if not 2. If this is your first time doing it, go bigger, do a 2 centimeter line of stitching. So we've got a nice line of stitching there. This is the edge of your fabric. I know my swatch is a little bit small, but this would be the edge of your fabric. Here is a 1.5 seam allowance. Just to turn that over, I've got a different coloured bobbin thread. My tension's probably all wrong. And so we're left with this. Now, again, this is wrong sides together. So if we open it out, this is what we're kind of working with. What we now want to do is cut away one of the seam allowances. And you want to trim as close to the stitch line as you can. Me and my blunt scissors. So I'm just going to get in there, but you have to be very careful not to nip your stitching. You don't want to snip your stitches. Can you see this? I'm kind of, half my attention is on what I'm doing. The other half is trying to check camera angles. So everybody's saying that they've been waiting for this one. What are you waiting to use it on? What kind of applications are you going to use your flat fell? What garments are you going to use your flat fell seams on? I do use this on the crease backpack, which is a digital pattern library design. If you have an old shirt, a classic button down, button up shirt, and you don't use it anymore, or it's got a crazy 80s pattern on it or something, You can upcycle that into a backpack. I have a pattern for that. If anybody is interested, let me know and I can post that in the studio afterwards. And that pattern uses flat felled seams. It also uses flat felled seams around corners, okay? If you are doing a flat fell seam around a corner, do not do that as one continuous line of stitching, because you're not going to be able to get that nice and clean. You want to do a one line first, followed by another, and when you come to rolling and folding over this, you want to make sure that you're always doing that in the same direction when you're working with corners, okay? So just bringing this up here, you can see my janky cutting techniques and my wrinkly hands. Is this going to focus? Anyway, you can kind of see, you can kind of blurrily see what we've done there. There we go. So we've cut away, we've trimmed away that seam there. Only one of them though, okay? So we've left the other one full in its size. So that's still 1.5 centimetres. We've trimmed this down to about 0.5 centimetres, if not smaller. But you can go as close to this as you like. In high-end luxury fashion, the smaller your seam allowance, the better quality and better kind of level of luxury it's meant to be. Nice, small, neat seam allowances make for really beautiful garments on the inside, okay? So if you're just starting and trying this for the first time, go with a big seam allowance and then challenge yourself and start to bring it in. You're obviously not going to be able to create one of these with a 0.5 centimetre seam allowance. You're going to have to give it a little bit of wiggle room. So we've got this. We're going to pull it out like this. We're going to flatten it out. And now we're working with this here. What you're going to do for a flat felled seam, if I bring this up to the camera, you've got your line of stitching here. You're going to fold this excess over once. Now at this point, you would press it. So we're going to open up the seam. We want to press this flat with an iron. You're going to open this up, fold it once, and if you fold it, you can fold the edge of that fabric up to the stitch line. Can you see that there? Let me know, guys. I know this is a bit fiddly. This is all very experimental, these workshops. I'm trying to see what camera angles work and what don't. But you're going to fold it once up to the stitch line, which encloses this raw seam here. That's one fold. You're going to fold it again, and that is going to enclose this longer seam allowance bit here, okay? And you're going to press that both times, and you're going to fold it over so that we've got this nice rolled clean edge. And then you are going to be careful to just stitch down the side of this and secure it all in place. Now, as I say, with denim, fun fact, me and Oliver, I don't know if anyone's familiar with him in the group, he's always around, always being my hype man. We met at a denim masterclass in London, and he is literally like the god of jeans and denim. And this is where we learn, or I learned, Ol might have already known, that traditionally the yokes on jeans are hand rolled. So you don't really need to press them. As you can see, it's quite easy for me to manipulate here on the sewing machine. But what I've done is I've just rolled that twice. I've got my needle in my work, and I'm going to just edge stitch down the side of this to secure it if my machine wants to behave with the clutch point. I'll take my time with this one. Don't want to rush or go over my fingers. Also, I'm very sorry if how I hold my hands on the on my material makes anyone nervous. I do have a finger guard by here. Years of bad habits, I guess. I'm a designer, not a seamstress, so I'm sure I can learn a lot from you guys as well. But, can you see I'm just edge stitching down the side? Just tucking that in. A more safe way to do it would be to use long tweezers to kind of tuck your work in and not get your fingers in the way. But I have been in this industry for long enough to not care. Right, and here is your finished seam. Can you see the two lines of stitching by there? So they're nice and parallel to each other. There is a lip of fabric there, but it's not going to come up because we've just secured it, okay? And then if we flip it to the wrong side, this is what we look like. So nice parallel, straight stitches. I'm bloody impressed with that. Well done me. But as I say, if you are the fashion designer and you prefer how this looks, you can of course have this out on the right side of the fabric, okay? So this would be the right side, this would be the wrong side. Now, if I try and put that horizontal, can you see how flat that is? Whereas if I put it this way, that has a bump. Now, in terms of comfort for the wearer, that, if it was on the inside of a garment, would cause a little bit more discomfort, a little bit more friction, especially on the inseam of a jean. Whereas this is the flatter side, which is why it would be more comfortable. So do bear that in mind in case you prefer how that looks. Bear in mind just the comfort of the wearer and the end purpose of the garment, okay? But that is a flat fell seam. So if anyone has any questions, do let me know. If that was easy to follow, then good. I've done my job. Elaine, you're doing trousers with it. I'm really, really excited to see those. I'm excited to see how you get on and how neat you go. As I say, that's pretty standard for a pair of jeans. You wouldn't really be able to get away with it being much narrower. But if you wanted, coming back to design, you could do a massive welt seam and that could be a design feature. So it's just a case of playing around with it. You know what I'm going to say. Get it in your fashion file pack. In terms of seam construction, I do touch upon this in the Draping 101 course. The Draping 101 course is mainly for pattern drafting and pattern creating, but I do touch upon construction because obviously we need to sew those patterns together and create our clothes. So there are some bonus materials in there for anybody who has signed up or anybody who is yet to sign up. There's some bonus material in there to help you construct your clothes as well as create the patterns. But of course, I'm going to leave this in the unit section, and I hope you all found it really useful, nice and quick today, guys. And we've kind of hit 10 minutes again. We've kind of come back to our short and sweet tutorials. Any other seam construction that you would like to see, hit me up in the comments. If you're watching this on replay, comment #replay. Go and give someone you haven't spoken to for a very long time a call today. Go and speak to a loved one. It will put the biggest smile on your face. It was just so, so lovely to hear from him. Get in touch with someone that you haven't for a while, and I'm going to wish you a lovely Sunday. Peace out.